We stay on the same topic, a very important one, of promoting gender equality on all levels. To share more about these exciting developments, we have Biljana Braithwaite and Larissa already, and Irena already announced you, so please take the stage.
What a fantastic panel. I couldn't have wished for the better introduction, and given the time, the one thing between you and the Montenegrin sunshine, I will skip through my slides because I really cannot possibly make a better case for women leadership than the panel had. So thank you very much for that. It is my huge pleasure and honor to announce our initiative that I've mentioned to some of you, that is going to be officially active on the 1st of July, called Women on Boards Adria. The business case, as I say, has been very eloquently made, and I'd like to talk about inclusive boards, actually. Sort of not necessarily just diverse boards, but inclusive boards, to my mind, those are different things. Diversity is more about numbers, inclusivity is about, as Larissa was saying, and Marianti was saying, that everyone can feel comfortable being authentic and contributing their points of view, and that is when we'll get those financial returns, and that is when we'll get the multitude of views. This is our objective. We've heard about European directive, and I know that there is a big debate about quotas, and some feel they're the right thing to do, some feel they're not, but I'm afraid numbers show us that quotas work. So European Union has, for example, published now data for the European Union countries, looking at countries that have already introduced quotas, countries that have introduced soft measures, and countries that have done nothing so far. So national legislators before directive coming into force. And the statistics are very clear. Countries that have introduced legislation are the ones that are leading in European Union now. The countries that have taken other soft measures are in the second row, and then we have countries like, for example, Cyprus, with very, very low number of women on boards of listed companies, and that is where nothing was done. So it's quite clear that change will not come spontaneously, which is why the directive has now been adopted, and we'll hear a bit later from Hedwige, the chair of European Women on Boards, one of the women who is very much behind this directive, really one of the architects of the directive who was working on it for the last 10 years. Why does this matter to our region? My data is from 2021, and you can look at average percentages of women on boards, publicly listed companies, EU average, the region, and then sea level in European Union and the region. So it's actually an interesting picture, and it varies country by country, but it is clear that majority of our countries are below EU average at present, and certainly when it comes to women in leadership positions. What do we want to do? Well, first of all, actually, before saying anything else, I think we want to work and partner with women like Irena and many others in the room, with men who are champions of this agenda. We will have one clear focus, which is working with both governments and the companies to increase number of women on boards, and for there to be clarity as to why is it that we are promoting that agenda. But we will be partnering with a number of other initiatives that already exist in the region, that are working on women empowerment, including women economic empowerment, and we've heard from Minister Grkovska, who, for example, is leading a network of women leaders in politics, etc. So we want to take a very inclusive approach, and we want to learn, and we want to do things jointly. We will be working with women and men, and that's very important, and we've heard that several times today, and I do think that all these issues that have to do with gender inequality, from most extreme consequences of it, like gender-based violence, to economic empowerment, are not gender issues. These are not women issues, these are societal issues. These are the issues that men should care about equally as women should, and we should work on that jointly. And I think we have many men in the audience that I know are already committed to this agenda. We will be working on capacity building first, and going back to the inclusion point, working with both boards and women, because for these boards to be truly inclusive, the board actually needs to decide it wants to embrace change. The board needs to know why it wants to have plurality of views, and so that we are not creating picture-perfect women who will then come to boards and not have a voice. So it is an important point that it's about changing corporate culture as well as creating a pipeline of women, and we will be working on both. Building a talent pool, exactly what Irena was talking about, and we look forward to learning and partnering. Then, given that this is a part of a bigger agenda, do some analytical work and work with the governments in the region. We are presently actually working on a regional paper that will be focusing on gender pay gap, and this is something we will also in Montenegro potentially it'll be sort of something that will be helpful to legislator when looking at legislative solutions in Montenegro, but we are doing it in the context of Bosnia at present and for the whole region. This is part of wider economic empowerment agenda, so we'll not be in our research focusing solely on board and leadership positions. We'll be looking at the wider economic empowerment agenda. This is our plan. We will, in the next couple of months, finalize the business plan that we'll share with you. We will develop initial partnerships, some of which are already being discussed, establish advisory board, and core secretariat. The idea is to go live on the 1st of July, and then pilot some trainings in partnership with European Women on Boards, but also to basically go into outreach and explain what the initiative is about all across the region. And then really, in 2024, focus on having clear deliverables, sort of talent pool of women who are members of our network and who have access to training that will be developed with European Women on Boards, and to also launch a policy and advocacy campaign. And this is where we will very much look to, if the legislation goes through, we will have Montenegro an example already for the region of the legislation that has incorporated this agenda. We have invited two remarkable women to speak to us today, and you will hear from them sort of very briefly now on the videos, and then we will come back to me. So if we could please play the video, the first video from European Women on Boards.
Dear Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, as the chair of European Women on Boards, it is my great honor and pleasure to congratulate Biljana Braithwaite for the launch of Women on Boards Adria. It is a moment of hope, of intense expectation, and a source of joy. Women are underrepresented in the boardroom all over the world. Last year, the European Union decided to legislate. By mid-2026, 40% of non-executive board directors in stock-listed companies will be women, and this in the 27 countries of the European Union. European Women on Boards have been advocating for this directive for more than 10 years. We are delighted that it was finally approved. In the last 2 years, we have built a talent pool ready to take up those important positions. More than 600 women followed our C-level and boardroom trainings. We also work together with companies and executive search firms to fill in the pipeline of talent in their organizations. We are now present in 20 countries in Europe and are looking forward to work together with women on Boards Adria as well. Women are now on average higher educated than men. We know that diverse teams perform better, and we know that women are much more skilled to consider long-term effects, to understand corporate social responsibility concerns, and to drive the sustainability agenda that you are discussing at this conference. So the benefits for companies are obvious, but we are conscious that change does not come easy, and old patterns of power can be sticky. This is why it is so important to have initiatives like Women on Boards Adria. Ladies and gentlemen, let's join Women on Boards Adria in this important journey. We need allies, men and women, to create a more inclusive, sustainable, and equitable business environment and society. Together, we can make a difference. Thank you.
As well as International Gender Champions, which gathers all of the international heads of international organizations, and her first gender champion is Antonio Guterres, Secretary General of the UN.
Greetings, colleagues, excellencies, friends. Thank you so much for inviting me. And thank you to the extraordinary Biljana Braithwaite for organizing such a stellar and important event, the launch of Women on Boards Adria. I'm Caitlin Kraft-Buchman, CEO, founder of Women at the Table, a systems change organization based in Geneva, Switzerland, and co-founder of the International Gender Champions, with hubs in Geneva, New York, Vienna, Nairobi, Paris, and The Hague. It's an initiative that brings together male and female heads of organizations to break down gender barriers. We see how powerful it is when male and female champions work together side by side to create organizational environments that welcome, truly welcome, the new forms of expertise, creativity, and innovation needed for resilient, robust, and thriving companies in this very turbulent time. Research shows us that having more balanced boards with different perspectives, lived experiences, disciplinary expertise produce more balanced, stronger, future-facing decisions that help the triple bottom line of people, profit, and planet, the focus of your ESG Summit. We also know that this change in corporate culture doesn't happen just by adding women, then stir. It's necessary to train the old board as well as onboard new board members so that their voices and new ideas are welcomed and heard. That having women represented, sitting at the table, doesn't mean much unless they actively participate, are able and have an enabling environment to meaningfully contribute to the process, and also for them to have influence, to sit on board committees with the most impact. So we need to move on from merely fixing the women, training them, to fixing the institutions, changing corporate board culture and beyond, to finally fixing the knowledge or fixing the systems and creating values-based corporate cultures that have the ESG triple bottom line of people, profits, and planet in their corporate DNA. These will be the corporations that actually remain and will thrive as we weather this increasingly turbulent decade and the decades to come. So I am very much looking forward to sharing in the work of Women on Boards Adria, collaborating as women at the table, going deeper with Biljana Braithwaite and the team, and to working together with all of you to help create and to strengthen companies that harmonize purpose and profit, built with women and men working together, shoulder to shoulder, to make this change a reality. Thank you ever so much.
I'm delighted to say I had some initial conversations with some of you, and initial reactions are very positive. I look forward to speaking to you more in May, but I'm delighted to say that Ike Banka, and I have to thank personally Jelena Galic, sitting here with us, have already confirmed, pledged their support to the initiative. So thank you very much. And Women on Boards will be about concrete actions, and we share the plan with you. But as we said, we also want to engage with the wider agenda. And we had a lot of debate. It's very interesting, recently more and more debate about panels that we see, all-male panels that we see in the region, in particular in the business world, simply as a result of number of male leaders in that world. And we thought we'll release one very specific pledge. And this pledge is very much modeled on the UN Global Compact pledge that all UN employees and signatories take. And that commits male speakers to discussing with organizers whether they have ensured that panels are properly balanced, whether they have explained why is it important that panels are properly balanced, why is it important to hear plurality of views, and we have approached one male champion that we thought would be up for signing this with us today, and that is Marko Čadež. So I'm going to invite Marko now to sign the pledge first. Let me be clear. I'm a lawyer. I don't expect anyone to sign anything before they read it very carefully. So this pledge is open for signature from today and every day. That's the first thing. Second thing is, this is not the only way to support women on boards and to support the agenda. But this is one of the ways. So if you feel so inclined, once you study the pledge, we would be delighted if you joined, and then more importantly, if you shared and explained to organizers why is it, what are the values behind, what are the reasons behind that motivated you in doing it. Without further ado, I thank you very much for the attention.